Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life. And Professor Sunreis Productions! Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. As you can see, my hair is getting worse and worse, but this is not stopping me from giving you guys the most important lesson you will be learning right before national season, at least here in Germany. I know a few of you guys are here from Germany as well, so we'll probably be seeing each other there, and definitely feel free to just talk to me, say hi to me, depending on my mood, and I will be talking more or less with you guys. But in today's class, we're taking a look, at least in my opinion, the hardest to play matchup in the current format, which is Purrely. And not that it's a necessarily bad matchup, it's just that it's a very weird deck in how it plays, and it's very non-linear, so it's very hard to play against it, in my opinion at least, especially if you never played the deck yourself and you don't really know all of the interactions. It can be quite hard to play. So in this replay analysis, we will be taking a look at Dragon Link versus Purrely. So without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave some feedback down in the comment section below, and let's get right into the video. So here we are in the replay, and two things before we get going. First of all, I'm sorry for not uploading in a while. Between just needing to get it to a very decent rating on the ladder, we are currently at 520 in this replay. And we're up against 750. It was really hard to get decent replays just because there were a lot of just unnecessary misplays, which in my opinion just don't really do a lot of good things if you want to take a look at like a very nice replay. Because like if you win a game just because the opponent misplayed heavily, of course you can like showcase it, but in my opinion it's not what this channel is about. We want to have like very good matchups and maybe rather see the positive things and why were they positive instead of going over the negative things, especially because there's still like misplays here and there everywhere, and then we just have enough of them. And secondly, the weather here is insane in Germany right now. We have like up to 30 degrees Celsius there, so I was just taking my time outside and going to like any place where there's some nice water so that I could go for a swim. But let's go right into this replay. So we win the rock, paper, scissors, and we are going first. We are up against 40 cards. Let's pause here for a second. Seyfert, Magnamid, Imperm, Ravine, and Dark Ruler. This is an insane hand. The Ravine is a little bit annoying, but other than that, this is insane going first and going second. They are on snow, so they are playing the discard engine, which probably means they are a going first version of the deck. Then a Purrely, Happy Memory, Purrely, and Purrely Happy Memory. I mean, my friend Purrely, of course. So let's get into some plays here. So there's no hand trap, so we can just combo off completely. We use Seyfert here, effect search black metal. Here we do have an option to go Ravine, pitch a Lubellion, and then use Seyfert, effect banish at the Lubellion, and then use Lubellion to go into a Sarania. And then we still get the Sarania of the, because then we can use black metal to banish a Lubellion, and then we can get the second Lubellion of the Sarania and still have everything. But with that, we don't get access to the Ravine package. We could have gone with that, but this is not something I would go for like in game 1. But in hindsight, maybe it is the better play. It really depends on a lot of factors, in my opinion. But with this hand, I didn't really think it was necessary for us to be successful, because we don't really need the branded beast or branded regain in this exact hand. So we go for the standard play here, especially because we have Ravine. We just skip the Romulus and go straight into Spheres. And then we use Magnamid to banish the Wyber Burster, effect Magnamid. We could do this because we don't really want to use our Ravine if our Magnamid doesn't resolve. So we use the Magnamid first, and if the Magnamid gets belled or like it gets hit by a Bystial or whatever, we won't be going into a Ravine ourselves. We send the Absol Router, get the Tracer, and then go for Ravine, Tracer, effect Tracer. And then we go for the Caliber. Very important that you play this guy. This is so important, especially with a lot of books in the format. Like it's such a good utility of Tracer. Like normal summon Tracer, Tracer pop itself if it gets booked, which is a very common play. Just get the Caliber out. It's insane. We get the Seyfert back, so that's like very good for us, so that we can get a Savage on the board and then effect Savage, equip the Striker. We only have one negate, but that should be fine. We set one, pass turn. We have a Seyfert in the graveyard. Magnamid adds us a Baldrake, which is really solid, especially in this matchup. And then we go into the opponent's turn. Opponent draws in my friend Purrely, which sucks because this is usually my go-to Savage target, just because it gets the most mileage out of there. because like Savage is basically just a one for one trade, right? So we want to trade the most optimal 1-for-1 that there is, and because it doesn't destroy, like hitting like any of the Purrelys or like Purrely doesn't really do a lot. So my friend Purrely is definitely the best thing to hit with that. Them having two, it just sucks, of course. So they go for Purrely Happy Memory, discard a Snow, get the Purrely. Purrely is the black one. 1-2. We could have used our Dispatter here to destroy this. I don't think it really makes sense to do that on the exact first. Maybe make them whiff and commit a little harder into the board, get some more reads on what's in the opponent hand. They do hit the Happy Memory here, no, the Sleepy Memory, and then they add another Snow. They go for that Sleepy Memory, of course, not showing that they have another Happy Memory. Sleepy Memory as send a Snow from hand, or discard, I should say, and then they go for 1-2 here. Here we could have hit there, but still we want them to whiff and commit more into their board. I think that's the correct play. Definitely, if you have more experience with this matchup than I do, definitely hit me up. Most of the times I feel like these matchups are kind of sacky and they don't really get into like more complicated game states than these are. But yeah, so they do hit again. They got the Delicious Memory, the one-off, which is very important for them, of course, and they get to get Bro, Huntsman of Dark World. They go into the main phase. My friend Purrely, we negate that. Like I said, yeah, they can have a second one because they haven't actually revealed one, the likelihood for them is super low to have a second one. They do have a second one. It's not super low, but like you get it. It just kind of sucks. But there's like nothing better to hit with Savage in my opinion. Just hitting like a random Purrely spell in hand just doesn't cut it in my opinion. Especially because we deal with bodies quite effective. Here they go for the Purrely to reveal a pretty memory. Here we go for the Dispatter. I don't know if we should have just waited, but the problem is that if they go for a beauty, they can negate the Dispatter and then go battle phase and force the seal out. Yeah, they've gone into battle phase at this point. But they can also use the pretty memory attached to it, send their friend or like the other name, so they can out both of these. So we are kind of forced to use the Dispatter here to get rid of the body. It's a very good trade for us, of course. Like removing the bodies they have on board is really important. So they go for the second one. Here we have the decision between using Dispatter on seal on the name, like on the name on the field, like on the monster, or use it on the XZs. This will get them, of course, their My Friend value, but we cannot really play without them having the My Friend Purrely value. So I'd rather just use it on the XZs. Maybe they misplay for whatever reason. And here they go for, they cannot use the attach effect here because of course they really want to keep their My Friend. This is a quick effect, yes. If they have that, so they could have activated a spell and then attach this, but then we would have just impermed, and this is, yeah, they're both quick effects. Here they go for effect to negate. We chain and bounce that. Sadly, we have no negate for the My Friend Purrely, but here our seal will resolve no matter what. We saw that they are playing an Ash, and it resolves because they have to chain the My Friend Purrely, otherwise they would just minus way too hard. So they get 3 cards back, which is of course never feels good, but now they have 7 cards in hand. But we have to remember, and they've already went through 2 of their Purrelys, so while they might have a shit ton of cards in hand, they only really have 2 more summons which do something out of the deck, and at maximum they have 4 summons, which do something, and we still have a Bold Rake and an Imperm to contest a few of those, of course. So we are still good to go, in my opinion. So they go for Purrely here. We Imperm that, of course, because not only does it have the best effect on field, because it can just go back into something later on, but more importantly, it also gives access into the field spell, and if they play the field spell, the rest of our interactions here are dead, so we definitely had to hit that. They were thinking about going into an anima, so definitely keep that in mind, guys. Don't play into the zones. They don't all play anima, but you just gotta keep that in mind. So definitely leave those zones empty. I don't know why I summoned the Magnumit in there. I was watching an X-Men lore video. I don't even know. I'm not even interested in that, but I was just watching that on the side. Don't do that if you want to get better at the game and prepare for German nationals or like any nationals or any big tournament whatsoever. So they go for the Delicious Memory here, summon the Purrely, get the Bro to draw a card. Let's see what they draw here. We knew that they had that. They draw Lightning Storm, which of course does nothing here. So they go for Purrely with the delicious memory. We chain Boldrake. Probably should have hit like one of the light Purrelys there, but I was a little scared they have something, so I just wanted my Boldrake to revive. I don't know what they should have been, but definitely hit the Purrely. The only real way they have to like make your Boldrake or like any Bystial Fizzle is with the trap engraved. As long as we don't have that, we are fine. They go for the Plum here. Effect Baldrake. We tribute the Savage. It doesn't really matter what we tribute here, because they will 9 out of 10 times go for a Zeus route here anyways. But if they don't, for whatever reason, we want to have the 2 6s on board to go for a Tomb. But they go for a Purrely, the last one. Let's see if they hit. They get a Sleepy Memory, which is nice, of course, for them, not for us. Wait, do these also work on... Okay, they only work on purely XD's monsters. I was just thinking for a second that you can have a Zeus, which draws like 2 in the standby phase. So they go for Assembled Nightingale, which is of course the best way to get into a Zeus, just because you cannot even play around that by going into the attack position. So definitely always summon in defense position against this deck, because they are main decking Lightning Storm quite a bit. They go for a format Zeus here. They have to use one of them to deal with the board though, so that's pretty easy for us. And here they go probably for a pass. They activate a Sleepy Memory, but they only have 1 Purrely in deck. Yes, at maximum they have 1. Yes, sometimes they only play 2, but I think that's incorrect. But that's another debate. So they summon the 3rd one here. That's probably misplay. Maybe they wanted to get like the Purrely out. I don't know why. Yeah, they probably wanted to get the Purrely out and then go for another Beauty. Yes, but they don't have that. So we end phase search a Levy, and then we draw a Ceremony, which is the best top deck which we have available to us. By the way, as you've noticed, we are playing on 42 cards, which is something which I've been testing with, but I don't want to tell too much about it. I will be saving that for after Nationals, of course. But yeah, so we go for the Levy here, banishing 2 Darks and 1 Light to pop the board here, and they will be chaining their Zeus. And we actually are able, or have to more likely, use our Bystial here to chain, because we really want to get into the graveyard, because we still have that Safeguard here, right? So we do get a lot of value of that. We banish a light one. That's still, again, a misplay. The dark one, a light one is way more valuable, so definitely keep that in mind. We want to be hitting the light ones, because the dark ones I can only use once per turn, so it doesn't matter if they have 1 or if they have 3. But for the Purrely, it's very important how many they have. But because they don't even have Purrely Leap in the graveyard, it probably doesn't really matter. Ceremony Ascends Lubellion, Safeguard, add back Lubellion, and then effect Lubellion, go for a Magnamid, effect Magnamid, banish. I think we will finally be going for a light one here. Yes, we hit a light one. Effect Magnamid, and then tribute that off for Lubellion, and then Lubellion get the most broken thing ever. Regain summoning this Pata is just completely insane. So we get that. Go for 2.5k. You could argue to go into Granite Beast here, but because they don't really have anything here, it doesn't really matter. And with Regain, we can plus way more, and they will just be admitting defeat because they don't really have any names in their deck anymore. So let's go into game 2. So in game 1, you definitely saw how to just think about how many Purrelys they have and play accordingly. It can be very easy for you to get lost by the amount of cards they have in hand, but it's basically if they don't really have enough Purrelys in their deck anymore, they can't really play. So if they don't get to leap and you've made them waste 1 turn, so you've survived the turn, they don't really have anything anymore. So they go for Purrely here. They are searching my friend Purrely. They go for Purrely, sorry. Searching my friend Purrely. They show us Pretty, Sleepy, and Sleepy. Getting the Sleepy. I don't know why they go for 1 Pretty there. Probably doesn't matter what they get there, but wouldn't you go for like 3 Sleepy if you want to have a Sleepy? I don't know, maybe some of you guys know there. Them having Delicious, of course, is really good. They pitch Purrely Leap, go for Purrely. No, go for Purrely. God damn it, I hate this deck already. Purrely effect, get the purely pretty memory. We do see that they have Droll and what's it called? Magnamid, not Magnamid, Bystial, so that's gonna be hard for us. Delicious memory effect. Target that. Pitch talents. Oh, maybe they went for that because I don't know. Anyways, so they go for Purrely, effect Purrely. It whiffs, which is very good for us. But of course, they already have everything which they need here, basically, because they go for Purrely, get the delicious memory, and go for Plump. Of course, this is the reason why this 2-1 hurts the deck the most, because going first, delicious memory is the most important one to have access to Plump, because Plump attaches to. They go for pretty memory, not for discard, just to attach it here, gain 1 point life point. We also would have gotten 1k life points. It doesn't matter here. Noir, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 5th summon, so even a nip wouldn't not do a lot here, apart from get rid of the Ensemble Blue Robin. And we pass turn. We draw Book of Moon, which is a very good draw, because this lets us deal with the Ensemble Blue Robin. They draw one, which is a Truce one, which is an insane pickup for them. We go for Lebellion. They ash that. And now we normal summon Tracer, go battle phase, and try to run into the Ensemble Robin. Of course, they can only hit normal special summon monsters, so they have to go for Noir to protect that. Now that Noir is not unaffected anymore, so we could, in theory, out it with a Book of Moon. The problem only is that Ensemble Robin is really good against us. So we chain the Tracer here on itself and then use Book of Moon. We do chain Tracer on itself because it gives us a Dark Body into the graveyard, which is very important for our Bystials here. And now we go for the Rocket onto that, like with an attack. They use Noir again. Then we go for a Serenity, and we probably should have gone with Magnamut here, honestly. But it doesn't really matter here, because this gives us more graveyard fodder, but because they have a Bystial, it doesn't really matter, because they use the Noir again to get rid of that. And then we use Magnamut on that, summon Magnamut, effect Magnamut, and we can finally out the Ensemble Robin. It doesn't really do a lot here, because of course it doesn't really do anything. I don't know why they used all of the Noir effects there, because we don't really get a lot from outing Ensemble Robin. And now we go for the Black Metal Collapse Serpent Summon, but because they have a Drew Swarm, they can out our Lebellion, which is the death sentence for our turn here. And we just have to pass turn. We do get follow-up, but because they have Purrely on field, they just get everything which they need, right? They do get their normal summon, which is of course all they want. Get the Purrely into the deck, so that you can have a better chance of hitting something. They go for My Friend Purrely effect, get the Plum. Plum gets to send one, attach. They get to 5 materials, and they just have another tower, so we have to scoop it up. Game 3, opening hand is Imperm, Safer, Lebellion, Tactics, Quick Launch. They have Ash, Magnamut, Pretty, Bro, and Sleepy. We go for the Safer effect. It gets ashed here, which is really decent for us because we still have a lot here. We go for the Talents for the hand. Getting rid of the Magnamut, of course, is most of the time it's gonna be a Magnamut if they have only one, just because it's just so much value that they get off that. A Disruption, a body on the board to out of seal, and then they still get a discard fodder with that, which is insane. So very happy that we got rid of that here. We use Lebellion, get a Magnamut, and we are completely uncontested here. And it's insane what the deck can accomplish with just one Magnamut and one Quick Launch. It is unreal. So we banish the Safer here with the Magnamut, effect Magnamut. And then we use Quick Launch to get a Tracer. And from here on, it is pretty easy. Of course, we go into our new best friend, Disparter. Let's not fast forward here. Disparter effect summon Safered. Safered link off into Striker Dragon, effect Striker Dragon, such as Boot Sector. And then we tribute off the Disparter for the Lebellion. It's important that you do it here because we will be banishing later on in the combo. And we want, of course, to have Regain for that. And Regain being able to summon Disparter is insane. Overall, having the ability with Regain to get into Disruption and having the ability to like draw into your own turn is completely insane. Making Regain even more broken than it was before. Arguably, it was one of the strongest cards in the game before, but now it is just completely unreal. We go into Romulus here. Effect Romulus. Get the Ravine, and because we use this pattern, we still get the Safer back into our graveyard, and we can use Ravine and pitching the Boot Sector here to get access into our Lavinia. Lavinia gets us another hand trip from the opponent, and will give us the body on the board which we need to go into a seal. Of course, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 darks here with the Sparta, so we can banish all of them apart from the Sparta, so we still have that. You could argue to banish, to leave a Magnum for maximum follow, but because they are so low on cards, I don't think we need that. And then we get the regained on the Striker Dragon, so we even have that for next turn. We draw a Seyfert, and we hand rip the Bro. Probably I don't know if it's the worst, or probably the best, right? Like hitting one spell doesn't really do a lot. Yeah, so that's probably the best hit we could have asked for. We get a seal, we set an imperm, end phase, we get Ball Drake, and just look at the amount of disruption. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 disruptions against a deck which has 3 cards in hand and probably has like 2 plays with those 3 cards. So they go for the Sleepy Memory in the draw phase, pitching the Ash. So now we know that they either have a Bro or another spell, but because they discard the Ash, they probably just have another spell in there. They go for the Purrely effect. We chain regained to get the Disparta for the next name if they have it, and then we negate the Purrely with that, and that's basically it for the game. We go into attack position, doesn't really matter, and the opponent scoops. So, hope you guys could learn something from this replay against Purrely. Like I said, it's one of the harder matchups, but I think especially in game 1, you could learn a lot from that. And it also really showcased, in my opinion, what I did with the deck here, with the 42-card version of this deck, and especially in Game 3, the strengths of this deck definitely showed up compared to the 60-card, but more on that after Nationals, or like maybe even pre-Nationals, but probably not, just because I want to get all of my time into testing. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time with this format as I am having. I think it's a very nice format, and I like it when it's very diverse, because I'm more inclined to like formats where you play like at maximum like 2 or 3 times against the same deck, and you just really have to play very well and not be so focused on having a very good preparation. But more on that in a different video. Hope you guys enjoyed today's class. Class is dismissed. You guys are free to leave. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.